If you finally booked your first wedding, then this video is for you because I'm going to walk you through a full wedding day, beginning to end, and share with you some of my favorite tips for shooting your first wedding gig. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Do something cool! How was that, bro?
Welcome back to yet another video. My name is Nabil Kasim, and on this channel I talk everything photography and filmmaking. As you're watching this video, if you like what you see, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. Let's get into it. So, there's a lot of things that you can do before the actual wedding day to help you nail your wedding. One of the first things is researching what other photographers are doing. The fact that you're here right now means that you've already got a leg up on this tip. Another great idea is to find photographers in your area who might let you shadow them and be a mentor to you, allowing you to potentially even second shoot a full wedding day with them so that you can see and experience what it's like to be taking photos of a couple on their wedding day. This is a great way because you can still practice your photography and also experience the wedding day without having the pressure of being in the lead on that wedding day. Of course, you'll want to have some practice beforehand as well to make sure that you can do a good job second shooting. The next thing that you'll want to do is meet with the couple beforehand. Make sure that you're setting expectations. This is done at least 2 to 3 times before the wedding day, depending on how much time you need to prepare, if it's a complicated wedding that they're planning, or if the couple just in general needs some guidance throughout their planning process. You'll want to think of some questions that are going to help you and help them in preparing for their wedding day. Ask them what they envision for their wedding and what they're expecting out of you on their wedding day. It's also a good opportunity to get to know them a little bit better as well as a couple, so you guys can mesh and work very well together on the actual wedding day. I always send my couples a questionnaire that they can fill out beforehand, and this always acts as a starting point for us to get the conversation going. It's an ever-evolving document that might change all the way up until the day of their wedding, but it acts as a good starting point where you can start to keep notes as to what is important to them and start to understand a little bit better as to the vision that they have for their wedding day. I'll post a link down in the description below with the full questionnaire that I always send to my couples right after I have the contract signed with them. And as their wedding day gets closer, I'm always reviewing this questionnaire and updating it with notes as more details about the day are determined. What's also in this questionnaire is to gather as much information as you can about the vendors that they plan to hire. And this gives you the chance to get an introduction to other vendors in the wedding industry who you can network with, but also do a little bit of stalking beforehand to get a sense of the style that the couple is chasing down for their wedding. Sometimes you can start to see some commonalities between the different vendors that they've selected. And finally, one of the most critical piece of advice that I can give you for preparing for your first wedding shoot is to learn your gear and get comfortable with it. You need to make sure that you've practiced what it takes to get a good exposure so that you're not underexposing or overexposing your photos. You also don't want to be fumbling with your gear as you're taking photos on their wedding day. People will be looking at you as you're taking photos, and if you're there fumbling your gear, it's not really going to be instilling confidence with the wedding guests. It's also a good idea that you've upgraded from your basic kit lens. Getting a good quality lens is one of the best upgrades that you can get for your camera. So if you invest in that, make sure that you do some research to figure out what a good lens would be for shooting a wedding. I like to shoot on a 24 to 70 millimeter, and that was my first lens that did a great job all around. After that, I then invested and upgraded to a 70 to 200 millimeter with a second camera body that I could use for getting more close range. And that was very useful once I started to shoot bigger weddings. Having that range was very, very useful when I couldn't be as up close and personal to the couple. Then finally, I'll always spend a good chunk of time the night before doing a gear check and making sure that I have the right gear beforehand. And this is where one bonus tip that I'll add that you can do to prepare for your wedding is make lists of everything. If you've made a list of all the gear that you need to pack beforehand, you can go through that the night before and make sure you have everything squared away. Then you can set that gear off to the side, maybe even put it in your car the night before so that you don't have to worry about it as you're rushing out the door the morning of. This might even include choosing the outfit that you're going to be wearing on the wedding day as well. You also want to prepare shot lists and get some inspiration from other photographers that you follow, and even get a portrait list from the couple. This is one of the things that I include in my couples questionnaire to understand what are the most important portraits that they want to get, and if there are any specific types of shots that they want to get during the portrait session in the day. So this is again where some of that pre-planning that you do with the couple becomes very crucial to how the wedding day turns out. Okay, now let's talk about things that you can do on the wedding day itself. The first thing that I'd suggest is to arrive early. This includes getting in the right mindset, also greeting the wedding party and letting them know that you are there and you'll be taking photos. Leave all of your gear in the car once you get there and just go make your introductions and first pass at the venue so that you can get a sense of what the venue is going to be like. Start taking mental notes of some of the shots that you want to get that are more environmental and kind of showcase what the venue is like. As you meet some of the wedding party, especially the bride and groom, it's always a good idea to share a little bit of what your plan will be so that they understand where to find you and how you plan to work with them. Just be careful not to overdo it because then that can be overwhelming to them. You just want to reassure them that you know what you're doing and that you're there to get the job done and that they'll be in good hands. Once I've gotten acclimated to the surroundings and I've made all my introductions, I'll then go back to the car to grab all my gear and get ready to start shooting. Usually I'll start shooting again with some of the environmental shots of the venue, also some of the flat lays, getting a photo of the ring and the invitations, the groom's shoes, things like that, just to get those out of the way. The second tip on the day of is overshoot. Shoot more than you need and shoot in RAW. Since this is your first wedding, overshooting is going to make sure that you don't miss any key moments. You'll want to overshoot and get as many frames as you can. And that way, when you're editing, you have a lot of options to choose from. I know the photography community always gawks at the spray and pray method, but in a sense, it works really well for your first wedding shoot. Keep in mind, you'll still want to shoot with intention, making sure that you're preparing yourself and practicing the idea of setting up the shot, because as you're paying attention to your surroundings, you want to try and anticipate the moments that are happening around you. But on top of this, be a little bit more liberal with the shutter because you don't want to potentially misfocus or miss a certain detail that potentially ruins your shot. I've found times where I wasn't paying attention and on one side of the frame there was somebody who stuck their phone out into the frame. So having another option to choose from ended up saving that shot. You'll also want to practice good exposure, focus, and composition. And again, this is where shooting with intention and anticipating the moments becomes very important to being able to get those shots. Also, make sure that you have your camera set to record in RAW. A lot of people who are new to their cameras will shoot in JPEGs, as that's the most compatible file format for photos, but RAW images will always keep more color information that'll allow you to save the shadows or highlights in case you miss the exposure on a certain shot, or do some nice color grading if you want to apply certain presets to your photos in editing software like Adobe Lightroom. Now let's talk about what you can do after the wedding. When do you think you should leave? I never like to watch the clock because that can give the perception that I'm eager to leave and don't want to be there. I want my couples to know that I'm there for them. So when I start to see things die down, I like to find the couple and steal them away for a grand finale portrait session. Get them a final shot that they can feel very comfortable with and get excited about as a kind of nightcap to the end of the day. This also acts as a great segue for you to then thank them for the opportunity to photograph their special day and to let them know that you'll be in touch and that they should enjoy the rest of the night without the pressure of having the photographer hovering around them. Take some time to bid farewell to your new vendor friends and exchange cards if you haven't already. This way you can tag them in any photos that you took on social media that showcases some of their work, and this will help breed some credibility in your relationship, so potentially they might be thinking of you in other weddings that they might have the chance to make a recommendation for you as a photographer or videographer. This is a great way to build rapport and collaborate with other wedding vendors. This is a favor that will seldom go unnoticed and will help to get your name out there when you're marketing to other couples down the road. When it comes to delivery, I like to shoot off a sneak peek gallery to the couple within 48 hours of their wedding day. But after that, I try not to bother them and allow them to bask in the joy as newlyweds. This also helps me focus on getting the photos edited and their final gallery put together in a timely manner. But at the same time, the sneak peek kind of helps build the excitement and anticipation for their full gallery. The last tip that I'll leave you all with is to relax and don't sweat the small stuff. Be as adaptable as you can throughout the wedding day, and that is the most important thing that you can do to make sure that your couple has a good experience. You just need to remember to be your friendly self and everything will be all right. Go with the flow, take banger photos, and your couple will be happy. This is their wedding day, so not yours, so don't make it about you. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. If you found these tips to be particularly helpful, please do let me know in the comments below. And as always, a like and subscribe is greatly appreciated. Until next time, peace out.